Hello everyone, Paul here. Welcome to day 3 of your lesson. Um, what I'm going to do today is we're going to pick things up a bit and I'm going to walk you guys through how to start building your list and kind of give you the basics, fundamentals of everything. But before I begin, I'm going to I'm going to recap what I covered in lesson 1, lesson 2. Now, in lesson 1, I always want to suggest that you guys go back to that because that's the mindset. If you when you go and build your campaigns, just make sure that before you begin, you're having an opt-in page and optional if you want to create a bridge page because that prospect know who you are, and then you can then take them to a sales page, or you can just take them to a custom opt-in page and then a sales page. It's up to you, but never lead them to just a sales page. And in lesson 2, I went over 3 different ways, affiliate ways that you can start earning some passive income, which was ClickBank, JVZoo, and Market Health. So today we're going to step it up, and I'm going to give you some fundamentals about building your list and show you a little bit in the back office of GetResponse. So first of all, why would someone want to build an email list? Well, I think of a list. I didn't when I first got started. I just thought of an email list as something you would just blast offers to, and that's something you don't want to do in the beginning. In the beginning, you want to think of your email list as a YouTube channel. Think of the mindset of someone that has a YouTube channel and they want to have a lot of subscribers on their YouTube channel. What does somebody with a mindset that wants to have a YouTube channel grow, what do they have to do on that YouTube channel? They have to give value, and they have to teach things, and they have to kind of, the audience warms up to them. That's the same exact thing with a list. You got to think of your list as a YouTube channel that you want to grow, and you want your subscribers to stick around. They're not going to stick around if they don't know who you are, and if you're just blasting emails all the time. You don't want to do that in the beginning. What you want to do with your email list is you want to give them value and then have them warm up to you, and then later on, after they know you a little bit more and they like your content, you can then send them a little bit of some offers, but not till after they warm up to you. So why would someone want to build an email list? Like I said, the first thing is you want to have your list know, like, and trust you. So you do that by giving them valuable content. So in the beginning, that might be hard because we're taught just to have, get the opt-in, sell the company's funnel, and then get your list. And this is what I did in the beginning because I didn't know how to email my list in the beginning. I would get a prospect, and then I wouldn't know what to say to them after they came through. So I would pre-program the messages that the company gave. And the big mistake with this is if you send your prospect through a funnel, that they opt into your list, they don't know who you are. So you didn't send them to the bridge page. They don't know who you are. So when you're sending the emails, all they know is the person that was in that video. They don't really know the person who you are because you didn't put yourself out there on video before they opted in. So that's why I refer back to the first lesson. But you definitely need to give your subscribers value and give them value in the beginning, and then once they like your content, you can then try to pitch them. You can pitch them an opportunity every once in a while, but just give them constant value. Okay, so why would someone need an email list other than that? Well, whatever opportunity that you're promoting, whatever you're promoting online, there's a chance, well, because that opportunity isn't owned by you, there's a chance that that opportunity won't be around forever. So I've been in many cases where I promoted an opportunity in the past and it went away. So if you had a list and you collected prospects, you can then email them updates on what you're doing or what new opportunities you're taking part in. So the money's in the list. So another thing that you can do with your list, once you start building a big list, is you can become a solo ad vendor. Now, what a solo ad vendor does, and this is a way to make some passive income. Um, when your list gets big enough, you can go to sites. You can create your site for this, but there's a site called Udemy, and let me show you that real quick. Okay, so Udemy is a site where you can do two things. Uh, if you have a big enough list and you've given them value, um, you can plug in your list to this site and people can pay you for a certain amount of clicks. They're called solo ads. So along the way, as you're communicating with your list, you can, as you're communicating with your list, you can then sell clicks to other people. And you know this by the value that you give them. And when you create separate campaigns, and I'm going to show you this in a minute, when you create separate campaigns, if you have a good idea of how many people respond to your emails, how many clicks you get on average when you measure this yourself, you can then sell that because other people are looking for, they're tapping into other people's lists, people that have bigger lists. So if you go here on Udemy, you can search and you can find people that are selling their list to other people that have big lists. So you can just find someone here, and if you have something you want to promote yourself, and this is a solo ad service. This is one paid method that I recommend. But you basically can look at each of these profiles, and like this one right here, we can check it out. Okay, so when you're doing a solo ad campaign, when you're paying someone else, now when you're doing a solo ad campaign, you want to make sure that you target people, at least my opinion, in tier 1 traffic. So okay, so right here we can see that if we did pick this solo ad vendor, and I'm going to talk about this later in my later lessons when I talk about paid traffic. But if you want people to go onto your list, you would just go here. You would see that this person has most of their list is in the United States, 94%, and the other ones here in well, it's all tier 1 right here. You don't see any here that are in other areas. You may have like 2% in Australia, but for the most part, all you basically do if you want clicks is you go down here and you would just pay for the click. And you can also see all the comments that previous people have bought for this provider. So anyway, it's important to keep growing your list, because if you grow your list and you give them value, they won't unsubscribe. They're more likely to stick and read all your emails. And when you do, your list will just keep growing. And as your list gets bigger, you can either sell, you can either have someone else pay you for some clicks, or you can just blast them with some, at that time when your list gets big enough, you can blast them with some opportunities and you might get sales that way. But in the beginning, when you're just getting started, you don't want to blast them with opportunities, and you want to give them value, and you want them to know who you are. So another reason, like I said before, businesses will come and go, but if you have a list, you can keep emailing them and let them know what you're up to, and they may buy on your next opportunity or whatever you decide to do and market to your list. So what I want to go over now is kind of the basics of getting started, starting to build your list with GetResponse. So GetResponse is the autoresponder that I prefer. So what I'm going to do today is kind of show you how to build a separate list, and other than that, I'll just kind of walk you through the basics of GetResponse. And we are going to come back later with GetResponse towards the end of my training. But right now, I just want to give you guys the basics. So if you guys haven't started, there will be a button below if you guys want to get started with GetResponse. You get a 30-day free trial. So if you click the link below, you'll get a 30-day free trial. So basically what you do when you get started, you'll have a back office that looks similar to this. If you're watching this video at a later time, it could change, but right here you have an area for your contacts, email marketing, and landing pages. Landing pages I am going to cover at a later time, but what GetResponse, because my next video that I bring out there, I'm going to talk more about landing pages. GetResponse, well, I do recommend if you guys GetResponse, they do have 3 memberships that you can join. And let's go to upgrade here real quick, and I'll show you guys what I mean. Now, if you just get the basic GetResponse template, I'll show you right here. So if you got the basic, which is $15 a month, if you got the basic, that would give you only the opportunity to only have 1,000 subscribers on your list. And in the back office, you can create a opt-in page and a thank you page, but you can only create one of them with just the email membership. But if you got the pro membership, you'll have a limited. So if you get the $49 a month, you'll be able to create unlimited opt-in pages, thank you pages, basically use the landing page creator however you want. So GetResponse is the method that it is preferred for if you can't really afford the other landing pages that I'm going to talk about later, but it all goes in with the same membership. So for $50 a month, you can have up to 5,000 people on your list, and you can design your own opt-in page, which is required to. It's just required for you guys if you want to be successful on here with whatever you're promoting. So the $49 is the best option, but if you guys want to first get started, just start with the $15, because if you start in the beginning, your list, you're not going to have 5,000 on your list if you're just getting started. So if you just want to get started, start with the $15 a month until you get to 5,000. Or if you want to go over 1,000, if you go over 1,000 subscribers, then you'll have to get the pro. And if you get the pro, you'll have access to the landing pages in the back to where you can have unlimited. So that's really what I want to go over right now, is how to start making campaigns or different lists. Okay, so if we go back here to what we're going to try to do is we're going to create a list. So you have the options here on the right, on the left side. So we have create a form, create a newsletter, create a landing page, add contacts, and create an autoresponder. Now I'm going to go over this in depth right now. We're going to click on contacts. Now later on in this training, at the end of it, I'm going to teach you guys in my bonus. There's a strategy, and you're going to have to import your prospects into GetResponse. So you're going to do that if you're using GetResponse. I'll show you right here. Okay, so we can see that previous to this video, I made a couple. This one is my default list name. So I don't usually use any contacts on my default name. And I created a separate list called All the Way Training MSI. And so what you basically want to do is, if you decide to promote, let's say, for example, you want to promote a ClickBank offer. And so if you want to make a list on, let's see, there's the red tea. So I'm going to use that one. There's an offer called red tea for ClickBank. So what you would do is you go over here to create list. And what you basically do is you give your list a name. And so if I want to promote a ClickBank offer and I want those subscribers to go into that specific list, I just give it a campaign name called Red Tea, or it could be whatever list name you want to make it, but I'll just call Red Tea Leads. So I have to go to create. And you can see that this list name already exists. So what I personally would do is I would just add my last name, or just whatever you want to make it for your list, because odds are there's not a list named Red Tea with my last name. So you hit create, and you've made a list. So you want the one that, what I want to demonstrate in this video is you don't want to have everybody on your list in the same list, because whenever you're promoting something, odds are you're going to promote, like, for example, weight loss. You want to have all your weight loss prospects in one column, and then another list and another column. So you want to be able later on to be able to measure exactly, for reasons, how many people are opening in that specific list. So you got to do your own test later on. So if you wanted to promote the red tea ClickBank offer, you would send them all to this one. And if you had another idea, or you want to do something else, let's create another list, and it's pretty. Let's just put my last name here, and let's get an idea. Let's say you developed your own training, like what I'm doing, and you wanted to guide them through like a email series like you guys are getting. So you can call it whatever you want to call it. This is for example purposes. So you want those prospects to go in a different list. So I would make a different list for that. So I would just call this All the Way email list. Let's call it something else. Email training. Just give that for an example. And you would create a list. So then what you would do is you would, after you get done with your opt-in form, next thing you probably would have to do is you have to design your opt-in form, your opt-in form, where they're going to go. So if you're going to use GetResponse, I'll show you that later in this training. But you would basically just program, because your list would have to go and be programmed to that funnel that you're going to be put in. So I'm gonna teach that more later on in this video. So now that you guys got a general idea of how to make your own list, and once you start getting prospects, adding them to the list and seeing the click ratio on each one of them, and this is all something I'm going to cover more at the end of this training. One more thing that I want to cover in today's video is add contacts, because later on in this training, in my bonus section, I'm going to tell you guys that you would have to import your prospects into GetResponse, and you do that by going to add contacts. Okay, so right here, now that we made multiple lists right here, we would select where we want our contacts to go. So if we wanted it to go, if you collected a lead, and I'm going to show you this later on in this training, I'm going to show you how to import. But if they're not programmed to your landing page, you gotta promote it. You put them in manually. So I would select, let's use the red tea one example, the red tea list, and let's say you got a contact for the red tea click link offer. You have options here. You can upload the file, which I believe you just need to organize it, last name, first name, email, or if you didn't collect their first name, all they really need is the email. Or you can do it manually, to where you can put in their email address and their name. But if you do it manually, the GetResponse is really picky. So if you have to do this manually without programming it with your sequence, with your landing page, if you didn't program it in your landing page and you have to put these in manually, they do require name, and I believe GetResponse has to approve it. So they have to see that you're just not randomly putting in email addresses, because when they go through the funnel, they get automatically put into GetResponse when you incorporate it into the funnel. But if you're manually putting them in yourself, GetResponse has to make sure that you're not just randomly putting email addresses in, because they don't want spam. And I said that at the beginning of this video. And you have to click here, I have permission to add this person to my list. So we're gonna go over this later, but whenever you're making your sales funnel, you can integrate your GetResponse into the funnel, so they automatically go into it. But the way that I'm teaching for beginners in this video, later on in the bonus, this is kind of a requirement that I'm going to teach in my bonus section. But you don't have to worry about this if you guys integrate it into your sales funnel. But I will be bringing this up later. So other than that, that's kind of all I want to go over today. I'm going to give you guys a basic idea of how you can start building your list. Tomorrow for lesson 4, for day 4, I'm going to start to go over the creation of making your own sales funnel, which is exciting. It's the exciting part about this, at least for me. I'm going to go over what sites you can go to start creating your own sales funnels. So I hope you guys stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in my future training. See you tomorrow.